G'day guys and welcome back to the Vemma Trader So You Want to Be a Scalper series. My name is Reese and in today's video I'm going to be talking about fees. Fees are something that can make a massive difference to your trading, whether it's scalping or high time frame trading. And I'm going to show you guys why they actually are significantly bigger when it comes to scalping because you have that bigger position size. So what we'll do is we'll head to Vemma Trader and we'll get started. Righto, so last week we spoke about how position size changes massively from scalping to that sort of higher time frame trading and how that can really affect slippage. But where I think it actually has the biggest impact on your trading, outside of those liquidations that we did speak about last week, is when it comes down to fees. So let's start with, let's say we have a $1,000 account balance. That means if we want to risk 1% with our good risk management strategies, we always want to be risking $10, right? $10 loss if stop loss is hit. So what that means is that our position size always has to be the position size that will coincide with the $10 loss. And what actually defines what your position size needs to be is your stop loss percentage, because that is the percentage that you're going to lose of your position size if your stop loss is hit. So let's take a look at how that looks on a higher time frame trade. For a higher time frame trade, we want to be risking $10. Now let's say, let's go $10 risk. Let's say we have a 1% stop loss, because it makes the math nice and easy for me. We have our 1% stop loss. That means we have to have a $1,000 position size. Because then, if our stop loss is hit, we lose 1% of that $1,000. We lose $10, which is what we want to be risking because that is our 1% risk. So $1,000 position size. Now, let's say that we are shooting for a 2-to-1 trade. That gives us a loss equal to $10 and a gain equal to $20. Sorry. So that's all pretty well and good. You've probably seen that stuff before. But what happens if we then go to a scalp over here? We still want $10 risk, right? Because that is 1% of our account. But now our stop loss might be something like 0.1% because you'll usually have a much smaller stop loss on a scalp. So if that happens, we have to up our position size to $10,000 because 10,000, let me clear that, 10,000 times 0.001, which is what 0.1% is a $10 loss. So that's the position size we need, $10,000. Our loss is still $10, we've just shown that, and our gain is still going to be $20 because it is a 2-to-1 trade. So nothing changes there. But where things do start to change is when we take a look at fees. So we're going to use OKX market order fees, which are 0.05%. Now, if we convert that to a decimal, that is equal to 0.0005, and we're going to use that twice. So we're going to times that by 2. The reason for that is because we pay, I'll put it here, times 2, because we pay fees on entry and on exit, right? So you're essentially paying that fee twice, which means we use the figure of 0.001. Now, you will notice if you take a look at the fees in the left panel, it's not actually identical, right? It's not doubled. And the reason for that, it's not doubled, it's not identical. The reason for that is it is actually based on the position value as well. So at $22,000, your position has a different value to what it is going to have at $20,000 and what it's going to have at $19,500. But for the sake of this example, it's much quicker, much easier, and it gets you, 90% of the results to just double the fee. We're going to be in the right ballpark anyway. It just sort of helps me explain it to you guys without having to get bogged down into the details. So we're going to use 0.01 for our total fees on this position. So let's take that and let's go and have a look at what happens to each of our trades. So with our high time frame trade, we pay fees equal to 0.1% on a $1,000 position. Keep that on the same line. Which means that we pay 0.1%, which is 0.001 times our $1,000 position. We pay a fee of $1, right? So we pay 50 cents on entry, 50 cents on exit for a total of $1 in fees. Now, what does that do to our P&L? So we get a loss equal to $11 and a gain equal to $19. Let's get that dollar symbol back in there. And then if we come back to our scalp trade, let me move that so that it's a little bit clearer. Something like that. Come back to our scalp trade, do the exact same thing. We are going to get, in fact, let's just copy this because it makes it all nice and easy. And then let's paste it in here. The fees are still 0.1%, but now it is on a $10,000 position, which means we actually pay $10 in fees, right? We can just times it by 10, the position's $10 higher. What that does to our loss is it doubles it, right? We were losing $10 just based on our stop loss being hit, but now we're also paying $10 in fees. What that does to our gain is it halves it because we were going to make $20, but then we're going to lose $10 to fees, so we're going to end up only up $10. So you can see that makes a massive difference. Now, where this really, really gets pointed out is if we look at the result risk to reward with fees. If we take a look at that, we can go back to our calculator. Sorry, wrong tool. Let's get rid of you. We can go back to our calculator and we can go 19. I was hoping that would work, it didn't. 19 divided by 11 for a risk to reward of 1.72. So from a 2 to 1, we have now gone to a 1.72, which, you know, it's a pretty significant drop, but it's not going to break the bank necessarily. If we come to this one, however, we have a loss of 20 and a gain of $10. If we go 10 divided by 20, we're left with a risk reward of 0.5. You can see that is pretty horrific. With fees equal to 0.5. So from a 2 to 1, we've now dropped right down to a 0.5 to 1, purely because we have such a bigger position size for our scalp to make up that account risk. And so we pay much higher fees as a result of that because you pay fees across the entire position size. So you can really see that happen here. If we come to the left panel, right, we are currently in a bit of a scalp setup, right? We've got a 2.5% stop loss and a 10% risk, 10% take profit, sorry. So you can see our risk reward is 4 once we take fees out, right? And this is one of my favorite Verma features is the risk reward with fees. Because when you're scalping, you will notice it can make a significant difference to it. We've dropped from a 4 to a 3.81. If we change this into more of a scalp trade with the exact same risk to reward, so we're looking for, let's say, a 4 to 1, we've got a 0.25% stop loss, we've got our 1% take profit, you can see that it goes down to a 2.57. So before it was like a 3.8, now it is a 2.57. They're still both 2 to 1 trades, but because the fees make up such a bigger chunk of the profit and loss. So you can see here, on our $10, we would now be losing about another $4 purely to fees and gaining, still losing another $4 from our profit and loss. Whereas on the higher time frame trade, with the 2.5 and 10%, still 4 to 1, still a $10 loss and a $40 gain, but the fees are only 39 cents. So you can see that we've gone from about 40% extra in fees to 4%. So a saving of about 36% in fees. Now, obviously, there is one thing you can do to reduce the fees, and that is switch to a limit order. And you will see that does make a pretty significant difference. You can see that fee went from 40 cents to 28 because you're still paying the market fee on entry. And it doesn't actually change the fee on your stop loss because your stop loss will always be a stop market. But we can see that if we go back to our scalp, so we're currently sitting at a 3.82. Go back to our scalp, 0.25 and 1%. That we have gone from it was about a 2.57, I think, to a 2.66. So it does make a difference. It is obviously better to use limit orders for your take profit, but you can still see that it makes a significant difference. The fees that you pay make a significant difference to your risk to reward, and they make a much bigger difference on scalping than they do on that higher time frame trading. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully that has shown you why fees make much more of a significant difference to your P&L when you are scalping versus when you are trading on the higher time frames. And hopefully it's shown you some of the ways you can get around that. It's really just limits. There's kind of nothing else you can do because your position size has to be what it has to be to make up that 1% account risk. Have a great day, happy trading, and I'll talk to you very soon.